welcome to Kai Chi Alchemy. You can call me Katchi. This is a space of love, y'all. Welcome or welcome back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the cosmos today. I am just getting set up, and we're going to be in a different kind of setup than usual today. Okay, I want to thank y'all for showing up. Thanks for supporting the channel, and thanks for co-creating community with me. I appreciate those comments, shares, and subscribes, and likes, and any way you interact with the channel, as it helps me to expand my reach and help more people. This is going to be a collective message today for the Capricorn collective. It will not resonate with everybody. I encourage you to take what resonates for you and leave the rest. It may resonate more strongly with those with Sun, Moon, Venus, Mars, Rising, Capricorn signs, but you may have no Capricorn placements and it may still ring true to you for some reason. So follow your intuition and use your discernment here as always. Here we're going to do a brief one breath meditation. So I'll have you take your hand on your heart and one hand on your belly, taking a deep breath in, feeling your belly rise first before your chest, and at the end of the breath, holding at the top for a moment if you'd like. All right. Wonderful. I am going to light a little bit of candlelight here for us. I've got the heart, the sacrum, and the brow going right here. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see on the screen here. As I was mentioning, this is going to be a different setup. I was called today. Actually, I wasn't even going to be doing a reading today. That wasn't in the plan. But I was very strongly called to Capricorn's energy today to sit down and do this, and also specifically to set up in a way I have never done before, from a perspective and a viewpoint I have never done before. So I feel there is probably some message in there for y'all, clearly, for the Capricorn collective. Before I get into reading some of the cards, hello, I am going to read into a little bit about the like scrying that I had come through before this, and just some general messages. So oh, hi, there's a little bug here. I think it came from the root from outside. We're getting a lot of earthy Capricorn stuff going on here. I'm just gonna let that stay. But I am getting something about the chapter called Bugs in the Ringing Cedars series that we've been doing. So if you feel called, you can go check out that video, and there may be something in there for you. But what we were getting today in my meditation and leading up to today's reading was about Capricorn and Scorpio both being about depth, and there's being something here for you about Scorpio. Capricorn is like the earth and the depth of the soil. Scorpio is like deep waters, but they're both about depth, and they're also both, like earth and water are both feminine kind of elements in certain ways. Capricorn can be culty community energy. It can be toxic family energy. It doesn't have to be. It can be healthy, strong systems and communities and families. But in the context of today's reading, it is your roots in general. It is your security. It is your foundation. And this reading is all about excavating the root systems of your life. Capricorn is earth, plus the sea goat energy. So like earth and water in a lot of ways. I mean, the goat, it climbs mountains. There's some other stuff going on there. But yeah, Capricorn is earth plus the sea goat, and Scorpio is water plus the phoenix, meaning like water and fire and air. Yeah. So there's some differences in the elements that are at play here, but they're both about depth and they have a lot of similarities. You may have some heavy Scorpio placements in your chart, or we may read on something today about a connection with somebody in your life that has heavy Scorpio placements in some way. You are going to be working with the Taurus Scorpio axis moving forward. That could be dealing with your stubbornness and dealing with extremes and dealing with like negative karma and feeling stuck and all of this like Capricorn in the negative kind of stuff. Or you can work with this Taurus Scorpio axis energy in a different way that helps you to see things from a new perspective. Scorpio for me is about going really deep and vulnerable and intimate and honest and gory and raw and utilizing the power of radical honesty in order to free ourselves of unnecessary fear and shame and pain that's become stuck in the shadows, in swirling loops of stagnating water, in the disease-ridden knots of an overgrown thicket of trees, in the tender points of connective tissue we find throughout our bodies. It's about restoring the flow so that we can root down fully into the sensual experience of the present moment and restore peace and truth and security in our lives. There's also a lot here about Aquarius. So Scorpio is followed by Sagittarius, is followed by Capricorn, is followed by Aquarius. And we have all of those going on here in your energy today, as well as Taurus. Let's not forget that there. But this Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius energy is like looking at your past and looking at things that are close to you on one side of a spectrum, looking into your future and looking into things that are close to you on another side of the spectrum, and kind of seeing through the edges, bleeding through the edges. It's like the before, during, after, a new lens, a new perspective, the past, the present, the future. It's like time travel. 9, 10, 11. There's also something about like perhaps the date September 10th, 2011, or September 10th, September 11th. Like, you know, the day before September 11th. Like there was one perspective, one way of looking at things, and then something happened, a literal tower. And after this big energy, tower energy, Scorpio energy, Pluto energy, there was a new perspective born, for the better, for the worse, for the whoever, whatever's intention. But in any case, a new perspective. So you are going on an archaeological dig here, mostly into the past, but by doing that, opening something new up in the present. There's a couple of things coming through here about, well, okay, an archaeological dig, that's very Sagittarius energy as well. And it's about seeking out new perspectives. There's something about rock or rocks Maybe rock music would be a confirmation for you. Walking on rocks, like rock gardens, stacking rocks, enchanted rock, those like little rocks that are friends that you put the little googly eyes on. Something that in there may be some confirmations for you. There's also some random messages about like Chinese finger trap relationships, with the concept of where you give somebody an inch and they take a mile in the dimensions of like time and energy. But I was seeing like a literal Chinese finger trap. You know, you put your finger in and it's fine, safe, good, whatever. And if you don't know how it works, whatever, you don't know how it works. But eventually when you decide to back up out of that, the rules change and there's this constriction. It was like a hidden contract kind of thing. And also with the same, it's almost like a snake skin visual, right? I was getting this hollow bone, this hollow trunk of a tree, this Shiva Shakti energy, this tube that has structure to it, but that has openness, that has space. This is the space, this is the structure, this is the order, and the love that is within it is that Shakti energy, is that fire energy, is that snake energy, is that desire energy. So there's something about like funneling your energy in an intentional manner as you go through this process of going on an archaeological dig, particularly through the roots, through the root system. Remember, we're digging through and excavating the root system of your life. Could have to do with communities you've been part of. Could have to do with family. Could have to do with roots. And it also has to do with Pluto, which was in Capricorn for a very long time and just recently shifted over into Aquarius. We were just talking about Aquarius, right? And so you've been the favorite for a long time in terms of Plutonic energy. You've been kind of in power. You've been kind of in control in a lot of ways. You've had, for the good and the bad, I'm sure, a lot of this Pluto energy strong for a while, and recently it has shifted out of that. And so that's why you need to stretch your perspective in order to find power and control in your life in a new way. Okay? And Capricorn is about entrenched systems, which can be tradition, it can be foundation, it can be roots, it can be ancestry. That can be awesome and powerful and useful. And it can also get you stuck in a loop, in a place that doesn't work. It can get you stuck in patterns that aren't working for your family, but that, or, you know, for the system that you are a part of, for your lineage. But you're repeating it, right? Capricorn is about community and about systems, but it's about maintaining the status quo for good or for bad, for better or for worse, maintaining. Now the power and the control comes from communities, from systems, but from the openness and the commitment to change, to this like egalitarian, humanitarian openness. Aquarius is also related to like people on the spectrum. There's something about opening up to a new perspective, a new way of looking at things. And this is going to be really important for you coming up. Okay, so I am going to, I pulled 9 cards for each of these, and I didn't turn them over, and we're going to turn them over together. Oh, that's where the 9 came in with the Sagittarius. I didn't really know what it meant at first, but they were 9. And with this deck, they weren't coming out at all, and then a bunch came out all at once. And I picked them up and I was like, this might be too many. Let's just see. It was exactly 9 cards. Exactly. So that was interesting. I'm just gonna put these out on the table here and see how they may connect in any way. I'm gonna save that oracle deck for the end here for you guys. So these are just some kind of general theme, some kind of confirmation, and some kind of way for your reading. And this is a general reading, so take parts of it and not parts of it, perhaps. There may be some kind of confirmation for the name Monica. That's the only thing I'm really getting for that one. Red, we've got a lot of Scorpio going on. We've got a lot of root chakra stuff going on. We've got a lot of root going on. We've got a lot of that stuff that flows through your veins as well. We have crack. This could be related to substances, but it's also giving like a crack in the sidewalk. What's that thing about stepping on a crack, breaking your mother's back? I don't know. There may be something about that. Maybe childhood related, childhood healing, carnage. Scorpio, trauma, compound. This could have something to do with like compound V or like, you know what I mean? But it could also be as far as like a community. Like when people talk about compounds, usually that's more of like a culty, like prepper kind of environment. So there may be some sort of like extremist stuff going on in your childhood, in your roots, in the patterns you're dealing with. River, flow. We're talking about that cowboy. This may be about like the energy of cowboys, of like the rebel and stuff. It may be something about Texas. It may be something about cows or boys, perhaps. We got El Catrine, which is kind of like this nod to like elitism of fancy pants, people that think that they're better than everybody else. People that wear a mask, people that wear the clothes, people that... I'm also kind of getting the emperor wears no clothes. Interesting. Okay, so there's different ways that they may connect for you personally, but I'm going to set those aside and see what else we have here. So we got King of Cups, the Star, Ace of Pentacles. Oh man, I should probably have brought out some little rocks or something to cover it up. Here we go. We got Judgment. Creative solutions. Okay. I'm just over here doing the YouTube censoring. All right, let's see how that works. Then we have the Nine of Wands. We have the Knight of Swords. We have Page of Pentacles, Page of Swords, and the Moon. Okay. Ooh. This just fell over. It's the card of Revelation. The reverse is rejection of spirit. And that's interesting. I think there's a snake right here, right? And a bit of a wheel. Okay. So King of Cups, definitely something here about your emotional stability, your emotional fulfillment, your emotional world. You may be a masculine or like identify in that way, or you may be a man. But there's something in King of Cups about having a really good, deep connection to your emotional landscape without necessarily allowing that emotional depth and that emotional landscape to overtake you. This guy is like on this raised platform and he's above it, but he also kind of is like planted in it and his feet are in it. He's just enough connected to it to understand, to be a witness and to observe, but not to allow it to like knock him over like a tsunami. And he's looking out right here to the star, to this woman like pouring the water onto the earth and into the stream. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stars here, and there's the 8th star. There's something here that's like golden. There's something here that's like power. There's something here that is like, I mean, usually this is referencing a star like in the sky, like the sun or something. But I'm getting some energy here about the star of like Pluto. Pluto is like an explosive energy, right? It's a hot, fiery energy. And it's like you're looking out into the future, into your dreams, into your hopes. You're like watering your future with your desire, with your intention, with this emotion, with these feelings that you have for this future that you want to create. This future that you want to create is really tangible. Like there may be something here about a home or a business, a house, a child, like a property, a building, a tree, or even like what's it called? A financial, like an estate. This could have something to do with an inheritance, right? Because we have judgment here, kind of referring to a big decision being made. And it's not like a decision that you're making necessarily. It's more that you put in the dream and the feeling and the intention and all this power into this dream, into this idea of this tangible reality. I mean, that's very Capricorn, right? Like your goals have to do with something tangible that you can hold in your hands, that you can see, that you can feel. That's very related to that Scorpio Taurus energy we were talking about, right? We got a lot here about angels. There's a lot about stars. There's a lot of like cosmic energy here. I'm just getting a lot of like support from your angels, from your guides. And The Ten of Wands, referring to how much work you have put in. You are probably pretty exhausted at the point, you're probably at the point where you decide you're gonna work so hard towards achieving your dreams that you're just gonna accept whether you win or lose, you're just gonna go all in, right? So you've gone all in, and it's at the very last moment when you really don't have anything left that this divine judgment comes in and hands you this pentacle that is related to your hopes and your dreams and your emotional fulfillment. And what is going to trigger all of this is this Knight of Swords energy. This might be somebody coming in with some kind of message or some kind of information for you. But I'm also getting that it could be that you have something to say. It's like kind of impulsive, immature, right? It's not a page, but it's a knight. So it's like rushing in without thinking about it too much. It's like saying what you think without thinking about what you think too much, if that makes any sense. And that can usually be kind of more of a negative thing. But in this context, it is saying, put one foot in front of the other, be stable, be reasonable. Yeah, that's your vibe. But because that's your vibe, every once in a while, you aren't taking the risks that you need to take. And if you want this judgment to come through, I mean, it might be somebody else's energy, take what resonates. But I am getting strongly for a lot of you that it's like a act of bravery and courage. Communicatively, intellectually, mentally, community-wise. There's some connection, there's some kind of words, there's some kind of message that you should just spit it out, basically. And that'll be the first step. And that'll be the beginning of this long process of manifestation. And it will be everything you've ever dreamed of, but it's going to be coming in very slowly. So you have to have the faith, you know? You can't just be doing it for the dopamine and to look cool, basically. Page of Swords, so there's more of this, even more immature, like childish communication, but not in a negative way in this context of this reading at all. And the Moon, this is about family. This is about like hidden desires and like subconscious stuff. This is going on a path to connect with your roots, with your subconscious, with your inner child, by just kind of blurting stuff out. If it feels like the right circumstance to be pushing yourself in that way, and you're guided by your intuition, and it feels like the gates are open when you use your discernment and all of that. Because this is going to allow you to move past your stubbornness and your control and like your desire to have and maintain power, because you've already lost power. As far as this like Pluto, Capricorn energy goes, you've already lost power. And so you have to try something different, you know? You can't do the same old stuff that you've been doing before. It's not gonna work. Okay, so then we have the Ten of Cups, the World, more judgment, the Devil, which is your card. This is the card of Capricorn, right? King of Coins, which is King of Pentacles, a lot of Pentacles, the Moon, and again, a lot of repeating cards, Four of Wands, Two of Cups, and the Hermit. Ten of Cups is like complete emotional fulfillment. That's exactly what I was talking about here. That's not usually how I read King of Cups, but it was largely how I was reading it here. The World is like this judgment energy. this turning of the wheel, this change. And this change is a judgment on the devil in like judging what isn't working. It becoming very obvious the patterns and the subconscious beliefs and things that are holding us back, that are keeping us stuck, that are keeping us stubborn, that are keeping us from trying things in a new way and potentially finding this emotional fulfillment and this change in the way that we do things. This judgment is coming in and allowing you and giving you the opportunity. It's handing you this pentacle, it's offering you this potential. You don't have to take it, and you can choose not to take it, right? That's totally up to you. But if you do, this King of Coins, this Pentacles energy, you have two kings, right? King of Coins, King of Cups. You have this very grounded, very secure, very fulfilled, very connected, very healthy masculine energy. But you get that through addressing this shadowy energy, this moon energy, by excavating your past, by looking at your family in a new way, looking at your lineage in a new way, looking at your relationship history in a new way. We have Two of Cups. This is very much like a soul bond, like a connection, this is a card of love, of like giving and receiving love. And the Four of Wands, this is about celebration. This is often read as like a marriage card. I think that's why it has, what's his name, Jafar? Because this has something to do with when he's trying to marry Jasmine, right? And there's all these cobras. We have more snake energy. So there's something here about celebration, about union, about connection. And I don't just see this as like inner union like I usually would, like masculine, feminine balance, like creating the stability and the calm and the structure to be able to allow yourself to feel safe enough to explore repressed memories and feelings and to analyze things that are like challenging to look at and all of this. I kind of lost my train of thought right there. You may be so focused on one thing that you block the flow of something else, right? And so it's really important to get really still and quiet right now and create that safety and create those spaces where you can do this shadowy excavation work and look at your triggers and the things that you're doing that are preventing you from manifesting this more physical, material type of abundance in your life, and like security and stability and maintaining it. And so over here, I see a lot about just spitting it out when you feel guided to do so, because you've been in this hermit energy and you've allowed yourself the reflection to like be in that aligned place, so that what is coming out is around the right people and the right circumstances, where that like vulnerability and that like expression of your inner child is gonna feed into a positive, transformative process that's gonna lead to fulfillment in a practical sense for everybody involved. But if you don't use your discernment in this, you can get lost, and you can get lost in these shadows, and you can get kind of victimized in certain ways. So there's a lot here about developing your discernment and improving that there. We have death. That's more change, incoming fast. We have so death, 8 of Wands, for those of you unfamiliar, 3 of Cups, Ace of Cups, King of Swords, the World again, the World again, Knight of Cups, Page of Swords again, Judgment again. Jeez. There's judgment in each one of these decks that I pulled from. That's crazy. Yeah. Endings, beginnings, change, transformation, transition, metamorphosis, end of the cycle, new cycles, speed, rapid action, movement, swift change, manifesting quickly, quick decisions, air travel, maybe going over the ocean, being in airplanes. But also, isn't there stuff going on with the airplanes right now? Like globally speaking, or at least in America from what I know. I have this kind of like socializing energy, this community energy. So this is like a rapid change in your connection, in your community, in your connections, in your community, in the way that you show up there, in the way that you interact there, leading to greater emotional fulfillment, but also like structure. It says head over heart, disciplined, truthful, honest, mental clarity, authority. This is about, authority, heart. This is about putting your heart into the position of authority that it deserves. Maybe that wasn't possible or ideal or taught to you as an option or something in the past. Maybe in this Pluto and Capricorn energy that wasn't the move. But now it is the move. It's time to bring in some change. This cycle has completed. This Capricorn cycle has completed everything we needed to change and learn from and grow through in that energy. We've moved on. We're in the Aquarius energy now. So we need to respect the Aquarius energy as like they're the people that are leading this transformative process. And if we can respect them and honor them through this process as people who really understand what we've just gone through and what they are currently going through, we can support them in the intensity of that process, right? Knight of Cups, Page of Swords. Yeah, more emotional expression without overthinking and putting all of the like fears and the patterns and the experiences of the past and projecting that out into the future. Don't think about it like that. What has happened in the past, because it's worked out like that in the past, it means it's not going to work out that way in the future. The past does not equal the future here. The past does not equal the future here. We have Omael, fertility and multiplicity. We have Mithael, rejuvenation. We have Haya, politics and ambition. We have Mebahel, truth and justice. We got Hamaya, ritual and ceremony. Mehiel, restoration of life. Pahalaya, redemption. Dhammabaya, fountain of wisdom. Anuel, perception of unity. Okay, so there's lots of numbers here that may be relevant to you. We got 30, 54, 26, 14, 38, 64, 20, 65, 63. There's a lot of sixes here. There may be some kind of Virgo heavy in your chart, perhaps. Also confirmations coming through here about oak and pine, sage, carnelian, kyanite, dandelion, lavender, quartz crystal, and the Buddha. Fertility and multiplicity. This could be in relation to family. This could be in relation to actual like birth. This could be about the actual co-creation of a human soul. This could be more metaphorical for you. Yeah, I'm seeing on the one end, there's this energy of like fertility, multiplicity, rejuvenation, politics, and ambition. It's like about this drive to forever young. It's like immortality. It's almost vain energy. It doesn't have to be, but let's see what are the reverse meanings here. Overthrowing of authority, fruitless labor, traitors and conspiracies. Yeah, I'm very much getting almost this like, is Epsteinian a word now? There is this energy of being like obsessed with controlling the narrative, maintaining power and control, and controlling the flow of resources, right? But then there's something here about truth and justice and the restoration of life coming through ritual and ceremony. Through ritual and ceremony used to illuminate falsehood, ritual and ceremony to illuminate false testimony, ritual and ceremony utilized to reject unwarranted criticism, and also to criticize entities which rightfully deserve to be criticized, which have up until now escaped that criticism. There's a lot of rebalancing energy here. There's so much judgment, right? So there's this inversion of authority on the left hand. And then we have this process of committing to the magic, the ritual, and the ceremony to bring in truth and justice and the restoration of life through finding truth, parsing out what is true and false, questioning things that we haven't questioned before, halting in the questioning of things that we're constantly questioning, that we are realizing that's not coming from inside of us and that's not coming from a higher source. And that was like programmed into us, and from where and why, and starting to look into that and reflect on that. And through this process, both on a large, like global and massive current events scale, but also internally in our own energy, we're like overthrowing this vain, corrupt energy, this energy of desiring immortality above integrity. And through this process, finding redemption, realizing the folly of the perception of unity that we had previously in these systems and these relationships and these patterns that were never actually really true and aligned. And finding a perception of unity where it actually belongs, where it rightfully belongs. And there's this turning around, this redemption for libertines and renegades. I mean, there's this energy in satanic circles about redemption. The Bible is all about redemption, and Satanism is all about redemption. Because it's about like being exiled or going through trouble and struggle, being rejected, going through betrayal or pain or like whatever, going through trauma. And then finding yourself, or like finding comfort, finding your place, finding security. But you can find comfort and security and stability in places that are not actually healthy, helpful, don't actually hold integrity, aren't actually in alignment with you, aren't actually in resonant with what you want to achieve. Okay? So these people that have been in power have thought of themselves as libertines and renegades, have thought of themselves as victims. The people that are doing big crazy stuff right now, that are bringing violence and aggression and pain and sorrow and trauma, these people are people that genuinely believe in themselves, in their self-concept internally. They look at themselves as victims. They look at themselves as the little man kept down. They look at themselves as the beast. Okay, I'll be the beast. I'll be the best beast. I'll be the worst beast. And it's this self-righteous, I've been rejected by God. I've been left behind by God. And so I'm going to make it right, and I'm going to take back control. But it's this arrogant kind of energy that doesn't see from a wider perspective, that doesn't see the past and the future. Hello. Pardon our leaf blowing. Maybe something about a shift in the wind there for you. But yeah, so we have these people that have been in this position of power that they have claimed for themselves through unnatural means, through force, through manipulation. There's almost like Seven of Swords energy, and the ends justify the means, but light is being shown upon that. The parts of ourselves that are like these big public figures in some way or another, to some level, to some degree or another, we all share all the parts. They're just all different shades and colors for each of us. So you can always find a part of yourself to relate to your biggest villain, your biggest hero. You have all that stuff inside of you, and you want to water it or weed it, you know? And so it's time to weed out this false self-appointed king energy. Because we are all God, and we are our higher self is something we connect to internally. And truth is only really gained through gnosis. But this can all be inverted and misused, as it has been. And usually, historically, a lot of the times, we'll have one cult that starts to invert and misuse some truth, and then they're attacked as a villain, and we overcorrect in the opposite direction. And we go from goddess worship to God worship. Or we go from being hyper materialistic to being hyper spiritual. Like, certain degree of back and forth is good and healthy in a flow, but we want to keep it in like a nice harmonious flow without so many of the extremes. But we currently are in such an extreme that, you know, things are dramatic, things are loud and unexpected and unpredictable and distracting and ill-timed and hello. I think they're just gonna keep doing that for a while. But there's this fountain of wisdom to be gained through going through this process of sitting with your pain, sitting with your confusion, sitting and looking at what can I do to change the way that I am going about using my energy, like where I am applying my labor. And just kind of playing with it like a child, and just seeing what happens and being more in that energy. I know we can be a little bit extra serious when we have Capricorn going on. Ooh, lovely. Aphrodisias. I know these cards have a lot of glare on them, and my apologies. But we also have Oxum on the bottom of the deck, may be relevant to you in one way or another. But before I let you go for now, I am going to look up this Aphrodisias entry. This one is a card from the East, and it is speaking about Turkey. And there's a lot here about global themes, even though it's a personal read for the Capricorn collective, because of this big energy, this big Pluto shift from Capricorn into Aquarius. Okay, so I'm gonna go to page 98 and we'll read from the book here. It says, energy focus, love, location, Aden province, Turkey. The lower world, the past, named after the Greek goddess Aphrodite, this sacred site is dedicated to love, passion, and beauty. The swans on the card gaze lovingly at each other, representative of Aphrodite's desire to bind people together in love. Enter a world of romance, depicted by the 5-petaled white rose. This emblem refers to Venus, the Roman goddess of love and Aphrodite's counterpart, as does the symbol that represents the planet Venus. You are urged to make your heart receptive to love. You may have encountered heartbreak, perhaps from the ending of a sexual relationship or from a family rift. And consequently, you have been neglecting yourself. Remember that you are worthy of love from others, from yourself, and from the Creator. All you need to do is to believe it. Once you love yourself and appreciate your inner divinity, the void within you will fill. Something about clearing your throat and speaking your truth. And clearly, there's something here about love. I've said it multiple times. This Two of Cups, this connection, this union. This may be a reading largely about healing heartbreak. Definitely about healing heartbreak on a global scale, right? And it's about family and about women and about children, okay? But this probably reflects in your personal relationships in some way. So looking at your past and like really doing the work to prepare yourself as if you believe in a healthy, passionate, purposeful, peaceful, positive love connection. I'm getting a love connection. I don't usually get that. I'm getting that. There's love in your future. Maybe in September 10th or 11th, something to do with that, perhaps. Okay, middle world in the present position, it says this sacred site has always been dedicated to love. The Assyrians worshipped their goddess Ishtar here, and later the Anatolians dedicated it to their goddess Cybele. Whatever the presiding goddess, pilgrims have sought love of the divine, of others, and of themselves. Take a few moments now to imagine the fertility rites, the flowing passion, the belly dancing, the sexual acts of worship. Those in the cult of Aphrodite knew how to embrace feminine sexuality and attraction, becoming both mother and lover in order to connect with the divine. Around 500 CE, the temple was converted into a Christian church and the city was renamed Stavropolis, the city of the cross. Who denied you love? Who stripped bare your temple? You can heal those feelings of abandonment, of unrequited love, and replenish your well of love. For 1 week, keep a diary listing all the things, big or small, that happen each day to trigger feelings of love. The warmth of the sun on your face, a smile from a stranger, a hug from a friend. These will all serve as reminders that love is always available for you and for you to give to others. Yeah, that is very much giving like the gratitude journaling sort of thing, where you focus on focusing on the things that you want to focus on. And the more you do that, the more you focus on those things, the easier it is to focus on those things, because you're creating new neural networks in your brain. That's literally what you're doing. That is Aquarius. So instead of being entrenched in these systems of instinct where we're reacting to our traumas, we want to recreate new neural networks. Decide, what is it that I want to believe in? What is it that I want to create? And the more we think about those things and think of examples of those things, the more we will recognize opportunity when it shows itself. And that will allow us to create things in the physical world by first recreating the neural networks in our minds. So in the past, we were learning from our direct experience. Now we are programming our direct experience through intention. It's up to you. Upper world potential. Gaze now on Aphrodite, born from the sea foam that formed around the severed manhood of Uranus, father of the gods, which had been tossed into the ocean by his son Cronus. Loved by gods and mortals alike, she is the very epitome of femininity, embracing sexuality and encouraging sexual intercourse within loving relationships, and as a form of worship. Whether you are male or female, open yourself to the sexual energy of the love goddess. Love who you are, appreciate your body, and no longer be embarrassed to show your true self to the world. Cherish yourself and prepare for love in whatever form it takes. Time to enjoy a romance with life itself and all those it brings to you to love. Right? So you're focusing on loving yourself and loving God and loving the world around you. And in doing that, you're creating the kind of mentality that's going to allow you, that's going to prepare you to be able to hold a romantic love relationship. That's what I keep getting from this, which usually is totally take it or leave it. But a lot of y'all, this is for you. And the reason it feels like it's coming through so strong is I'm feeling a lot of stubbornness and resistance from you. Like you've really wanted the control and the power of just being like, I know that things suck and they're not gonna work, and people are this way, men are this way, women are this way. Like men are all evil, women are all crazy, or whatever, you know, you say to yourself, people say to you. You need new beliefs. Do you want new beliefs? That's up to you. Here we have the invocation of Aphrodite. To make yourself more receptive to love, call upon Aphrodite herself using the following words. Aphrodite of feminine beauty, guide me to seek the love within me. Goddess of love, passion, and lust, I ask you help rebuild my trust. My heart has broken. I suffered deep pain. I ask for your healing. For love I'll regain. Aphrodite of feminine beauty, guide me to celebrate the love within me. Of ocean born, you arose from foam, and love poured out from your very breastbone to share the essence of the divine, to bring passion for all humankind. Aphrodite of feminine beauty, guide me to honor the love within me. I focus on wisdom, on kindness to all, and the goddess of love ensures I am whole. Aphrodite of feminine beauty, thank you for the divine love within me. Yeah, Aphrodite, femininity, receptivity. It's time to find a way to open yourself up to love, to open yourself up to receive again, or maybe for the first time. Maybe this is something you've always struggled with, perhaps. It does seem like it might be a bit of a Capricorn theme. And yeah, remember what we were saying about Scorpio? Let me read that again before I let you go. Scorpio is about going really deep and vulnerable and intimate and honest and gory and raw, and utilizing the power of radical honesty in order to free ourselves of unnecessary fear, shame, and pain that's become stuck in the shadows. Blah, 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 blah. It is about restoring flow so that we can root down fully into the sensual experience of the present moment and restore peace, truth, and security in our lives. Taurus, that's Taurus. The sensual experience of being grounded in our bodies, grounded in our lives, grounded in our beds. Loving, emotionally present, communicative, stable, secure. There isn't a lot of fire here. This is like very grounded, mature love. It's like it's the only option. It's like things are like repeatedly falling apart and not working for you because you're only meant to have grounded, mature love in your life right now. It seems like that's what you need, right? As a Capricorn, I would imagine that's just in general what you should be going for. But maybe you've just had experiences or programming that has made it very hard to believe in that, right? So feel things, touch things, smell things. Be present in your present sensual experience. Like that can also bring you nervous system healing and security and the feeling of feeling safe enough to look into your past and look at your desires for the future and peel back what that really is saying about you and about the world and about reality, what it's saying that you don't want to see, that you didn't want to hear, that you didn't want to acknowledge, that was hard to see, that was hard to acknowledge. Because those are the things that are going to really set you up for a mature, grounded love, allowing you to become the kind of person that's able to give the kind of love that you want to be able to learn how to receive. And there's so much, I feel like we could go so deep into this that it's making me really feel inspired to get into some love readings because there's so much nuance here that we could get into. And I feel like we're already over an hour, right? And this is a very general Capricorn message looking at the macro, right? That's the whole idea. But if we want to zoom into this love stuff, let me know. Let me know if this resonates and in what way. And that'll help me to tap in more fully and deeply into this romantic, sexual, Aphrodisiac energy. Yeah, there's something here about the time window of Valentine's Day, like this recent Valentine's Day season through September of this year. If that resonates, that may be a time-specific message for you. But in general, I feel like the advice here is to relax and to ground and to be in the present moment and focus on the positive things. Sometimes that can be kind of a spiritual bypassing energy, but I don't feel like that's particularly something that you could be carried away with easily. So just go for it. All the way, fully, deeply. And I am called to pull one last message for you. This one. Be grateful. Be so grateful for all of the lessons and all of the pain and all of the trauma and all of the loss of your position of power and control, because it's opening up space for something totally new, totally different, and better. Believe it. Believe it. Breathe it in. Feel it in your bones. Feel it in your brow, in your heart, in your hips. And it'll just materialize from your mind into your hand. Can't wait to see it. All right, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Love, light, peace, and personal responsibility. I'll see you next time.